Yeah. Okay, hold on. What are we saying here? Oh my God. Have you? You can't fill the stream before I get started. I tried to reset my phone, try to this goes smooth. So what are we saying? That kid. Have you seen the Kino video on Sticks? It's not looking good for him. No, I haven't. I haven't actually seen any more than watching. Kind of wanted to say my piece about him. Move some stuff around here, get my feet going. Sticks allegedly has a lot of issues, it seems, not surprising. His channel welcomes you with "I am God." That's his channel description, guys. I mean, Christ, even I don't do that. Go for a bit, but I'll leave a few questions for the chat. Okay, so that's why you're filling this up. Do you think this is my YouTube Razorfist distance himself from Stick? Razorfist sounds familiar. I'm trying to think who that. What are your thoughts on the Side Scroller Gaming Podcast? Legit or Side Scrollers? So is the podcast called Side Scrollers Gaming, or is it called Side Scroller? I'm not familiar with it. Do you think the Diddy stories end what's left of that type of Hollywood? It's hard to say. They can always bring in a new Diddy. If his objective was to get dirt on people, there'll be, a new Diddy. I think that as far as Diddy goes, they're saying shopping around a sex tape of Diddy with a even bigger star. I think that's Justin Bieber. I think that's what they're here is that there's a tape with Justin Bieber, and they're thinking, should we bring this to light or not? Yeah, I had a new hot water heater put in today. You maybe with rumors that Trump may invest in filmmaking in areas outside of Hollywood. Do you think we could see a resurgence in the blockbuster at theaters? Donald Trump thinks he's bigger than he is. He really doesn't put his money where his mouth is. It's like, okay, you can't buy you can't buy an NFL team, but you can get in the USFL. That's cheaper. You can't really make something that would compete head to head Hollywood, but you could probably start something like Angel Studios. He can't buy Facebook or Twitter, but he can social. That's kind of the way he operates. Trying to think, should I do something different with my lighting here? Yeah. The Blockbuster. I do have all my new DVD. I got Blu and 4Ks. Do you call a 4K a Blu-ray or not? You don't say UHD whatever the hell, do you? Comparing Sticks to John Lennon with his bad takes and issues with women. John Lennon isn't it like unquestionably more talented? I mean, oh, by the way, if you're just joining us, it's going to be Fueled with Death. Bury It Alive. Flavored sparkling water. I've never had liquid before, but I've been getting these kind of like signs of pre-diabetes. So I kind of think maybe water on occasion. So let's see what this is about. Anything that wants to be low calorie always hit the fizz. The fizz tries to make up for it. That doesn't taste bad, and it's huge. It was $1.89 on sale at Target. $1.89 for almost 20 ounces. Giant tall boy. Won't fit in my Yeti Colster, I think they call it. So, yeah, this is a hand knit thing of mine made. So, yeah. Great videos recently. Just thought I'd say, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I've had to done a lot of shorts. I've been shooting shorts because I feel like that is a way to get the channel growth. We've gained almost 4,000 subscribers in a month. Like, that's pretty good. It'd be kind of nice if that translated to viewers, honestly. If you're watching this, 5 people are watching, hit that thumbs up. Let's see what happens here. I try to have a better stream than most people, at least, I feel like. As far as the mobile ones go, but yeah, I'm trying to hit like some sharp, informative, or fun shorts, and then see what I can do about longer stuff. I actually got a notification today on YouTube. They're expanding shorts to 3 minutes. I think bad move. I think a minute is not that bad, but now a lot of my content under 3 minutes, and I don't feel like it needs to be a short, frankly. Okay, do you think we'll ever see a Capcom crossover fighter again? Oh yeah, the fact that we have the part of that being in the Fighting Collection 2, and we have the Marvel Collection, hints that crossover is very lively. In fact, I mean, hell, we have the SNK fighters joining Street Fighter 6. Play them today. Pretty badass. Got some cool moves. And then we also have Ken and Chun-Li going over to City of Wolves, which I really like the art style there. It looks like they're aiming. It's very similar to what Guilty Gear Strive has, where it's a 3D designed to look 2D. But it looks similar to the art style of their old posters, and I find that really appealing, honestly. But with Ken and Ryu there, Ken and Chun-Li, matter of time before they have Capcom versus SNK 3. Who names their child Tarl? Who names their child Vaughn? But Tarl has got to be worse. Actually, isn't it Warwick? Isn't it Warwick Tarl? Who keeps last name Tarl? That's the question, right? How messed up does my hair look here? You know what's weird? Like, I could look in the mirror and go, hey, I look right. Then I start shooting the video, and it's like my face looks fat and my shoulders look skinny. Especially with the Sony camera I've got with the Sigma lens. Otherwise a good lens, but it makes my face look fat and my shoulders look diminutive. And it's like, have I not worked out? Like, oh, I miss Canon Films and Gold. You know what? If you miss Canon's Golden Globus Productions, the today's equivalent is Millennium Films and Lionsgate. And that's not saying a good thing about those. Is really what you have in relation to that schlocky action first, bank on some names, churn some stuff out. This looks like a trend. That group, really, right there. How's this light working for me, or is it not working? I got a new device for shooting overhead video when I unbox things, and it's the version of what I had that broke. And the unfortunate thing is, it doesn't go as high, so I can't get a face level fill light there. I mean, I might be able to. Don, bro, relax on the questions. Give some room. Yes. And now we've gotten to the part where we're looking at what's live. Hey, you don't have to pay me to acknowledge your existence around here. Oh, Warwick Tarl. What's your thoughts on Guy Ritchie's movies? I am aiming to watch that. I think you may have asked me about it. The Gentlemanly Unwarfare-like Extremities movie or something came up somewhere. It might be Netflix. Honestly, at this point, I'm getting to be such a stickler for quality on picture that I'm like, look, if it's not 4K HDR, then I'll wait for it in 4K HD. It's almost gotten that way. Like, if Netflix adds a new movie and it just says HD, I'm like, what am I paying extra for? What is the extra money spent in getting the fee when the vast majority of the 4K stuff you have is Netflix original garbage? So I will be watching some Netflix original stuff. Now, I have a video coming out that was going to come out today. Man, this is kind of a thick box. That's what she said. Got this in the mail yesterday. Oh, because I don't have it closed. Got this bad boy in the mail yesterday. Shot the commentary yesterday, but I'll be talking about it in an upcoming video on Monday, saying that it's coming in the mail. You guys get the inside information, you know? Hey, we're up to 10 viewers, and I scared you guys away by talking close to the mic. If you're familiar with this, look, at this point, why would Friday the 13th, the remake, which, by the way, I find this to be the best entry in the entire series. It plays like greatest hits. Okay, so it doesn't have it doesn't have the iconic sound, but it catches you up to speed with Jason and elaborates on the character, tries to give him something plot is operating as a human. But I think that this movie is on 4K HDR because of Bree, because of the character Bree. Let's leave it at that because we don't want to get a H thing. Yeah, you'll have to check out my commentary. So this is in. Let's sort this so that we have. Now this I have not seen. The Vanishing. Been on my watch list on IMDb for close to 10 years. I think it might be Swedish. It's going to have to be something I have to read. So I can't be watching this while I'm preoccupied eating popcorn, ice cream, or the like. So that's what I know about that. One more live action Blu-ray. Actually a 4K. You guys know this movie? Not really cover. It looks pretty cheap, but I mean it's a schlocky 80s horror film from Italy. I think it might be Italy, German. It's got a lot of things going. But it's kind of enjoyable. It has a good soundtrack, and there was a weird thing that happened towards the end of the movie where I was like, if these demons, because these demons come out of a movie, like a movie turns people into demons. Okay, so these demons escape the theater. Wouldn't it be weird if and then the thing I'm thinking of happens the moment I'm thinking. So I'm actually looking at ordering the sequel, which I haven't seen, Demons 2. I think they shot it like immediately after. And also on 4K from, is this Synapse? That is Synapse, yeah. We're in a weird place. These discs are coming from these companies that make the release because everybody got rid of their CBS home video. So Paramount, hey, go ahead and have Arrow make your Friday the 13th, right? Got some anime coming. Kiki's Delivery Service, you heard it here first. This is, I think this is the best Hayao Miyazaki film. And because I said that, I know people are going to be on my ass if I don't all compare this one. Princess Mononoke, which, by the way, I already have Nazca of the Valley of the Wind, but it's on the older, like, Disney release Blu-ray, whereas these are Steelbook, which is always cool to have, right? I know I'm not a huge fan of slipcovers. If you have the Steelbook, show off the Steelbook. Why do you also want to have a slipcover? It's kind of intrusive because now you have to something off. And yes, Discotek Media's Lupin the Third, Castle of Cagliostro. I've heard it said different ways depending on the dub. The dub that I have on DVD has David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake. What does he say? Metal, right? And you can kind of hear that in our hero here. This is Hayao Miyazaki's first feature film. Actually, the last episode of the second volume, the second series of Lupin from like 1980 is animated in this style. They gave it like a send-off, so it looks like it would theoretically kind of be like the first Studio Ghibli film in a way. Have not seen this on 4K, so I am excited for that. I know, having seen this several times on DVD recently, that this is incredibly well animated for like a 1980 film. Actually, is it 1980? Yeah. I thought it might have been 9, but yeah, so that's some of the stuff in the pipeline that I'll be getting to before the year is over, because it does take a while. I'm kind of finding that I would rather watch stuff like this or streaming than go to the theater, because if I, like I did Bad Boys Ride or Die or Alien Romulus, or like Dawn was wanting me to see Joker 2, I can't get you the clips in the video. Now I can give you decent production value. I can give you $1,000 microphone setup over here, but no one gives a shit because I don't walk and have my jiggle. So if I don't have the visuals from the movie showing women, we'll watch the video. That's just the way it goes. So yes, Guy Ritchie. I'll be watching that Gentlemanly Unfair Warfare. Yeah, that's one of his things. It's got the Superman, ex-Superman, and the guy from Blue Mountain State. Yeah. Have you ever watched the Gentleman TV series or movie? No, I was confused. So that's not something to do with the Kingsman? There's the Kingsman, the Statesman, but then the Gentleman thing, I think, might be a Guy Ritchie thing, whereas the Kingsman and the Statesman stuff is not. So, no, I've not watched that. The lighting makes it look like my teeth are really crooked and missing, but that it is what it is. Why don't you wear nice tailored? You would stand out from other YouTubers like critical drinker, barely on camera, except open bar. I sweat profusely. I'm either freezing or sweating profusely. So, I think I would sweat profusely in suits. They don't fit me well. I have a very weird body shape. Like I have quite the gut, but I'm like 20-inch waist. So since lockdown, I haven't been able to wear shit. Siri, you ass. I have not been able to wear jeans or most pants. I can maybe do some shorts, but I have to put a belt on them or they'll slide off as I walk. But then I have to undo the belt when I sit down because of the gut. Mostly wear joggers. They don't make a three-piece suit jogger, do they? What else are we asking here? Who's your stand-up comedians? Bill Burr, Jim Gaffigan, Cosby, Ellen DeGeneres. Active right now. Nate Bargatze be good. Unless he's done something stupid lately, and then which I do not recognize his existence. Will Joker make $1 billion? Joker already made $1 billion. Will Joker do love or whatever that Americans are going to have a hard time? No, probably not. In fact, I don't know how official this could be, but it's like Instagram post saying, regarding a Joker 3, I think that we told our story in two, which means financially it's not looking like we would be allowed to do a third. I haven't seen this Joker, but I don't think American audiences are going to be receptive to it being turned into a musical to continue the story. And I've heard people say that the exciting stuff was washed off as a dream sequence. So it's kind of like, what does much of it matter when you... Extended dream sequences in a movie are very seldom, and I don't like saying there's a rule because there seems to be exceptions to rules, but typically I would avoid having a dream sequence in something. So there you go. I don't believe most of the $1 billion are the books cooked. Yes. I don't think that these companies mind paying an extra loss, paying extra on taxes if it makes stock work. Because if the system says, oh, we went a whole summer without a movie making $1 billion, well, it's over. The theaters have crashed. So we have to lie. We have to say things are more than they are. Is Inside Out 2 as popular as we're being told it is? Real talk. Because was the first one that popular? I know these CGI movies, Pixar, typically very popular with the kiddos. But I don't understand it. Like, I don't think that you could have as much going for it as you would Toy Story 3 or 4 or whatever. Was there that much behind more Inside Out? It doesn't make sense to me, but I think that this was a save face maneuver by Disney to go, hey, if we keep showing Pixar has lost magic, we're screwed. And we're going to have to shutter Pixar. So, okay, it crossed 800. Let's go ahead and say most. Screw it, right? To which end, and I'm doing a video on this, oh God's sake, that new Deadpool Wolverine, you want to get that on 4K, guys? Comes out later this month. Starting at $50. You want to get Steelbook? They're probably looking at close to $70. As if Disney said this one movie has to recoup the losses of The Acolyte, whatever the hell else we've gotten in Marvel, all the Lucasfilm stuff, all the shenanigans. Deadpool, Wolverine, you guys made money. Keep making us money somehow, right? Okay, will you create another channel since you are gaming? No, but I mean, I haven't given up yet, but I'll certainly quit playing new stuff, especially after I've had my fill of the new GTA. I've played way less Overwatch in the last week, trying to get into other stuff, watch other things, and just kind of realizing that I've done everything there is to do in Overwatch. I've seen and performed all the highlights one can perform with the characters I play as. I'm imagining that GTA 6, right, that it will provide, at least a year of entertainment. So I'm not done, but I do have a lot of Game Pass to go through. I would like to end my Game Pass when it comes up in November. I've had like 4 years for free, more than that even. From like drinking Rockstar profusely. They had a giveaway with the tabs and stuff. I had like all these accounts, but then I funneled the codes. Anyway, it made the Rockstar pay for themselves. But just not feel pressured in these games that are leaving in 15 days, every 15 days. I think that the consumer needs more of a heads up. We should have at least a month in advance and like email notice, other things telling us when things are leaving, like as good of notice as possible instead of vague. So, yeah. Will you ever? Okay, hold on here. Would you rather 2 million subs demonetized or 100,000 monetized? You could get a lot done with 100,000 monetized, but the 2 million demonetized, you might be able to have more fun with. You might be able to attract potentially known sponsorships, but you might be kind of seen as dangerous. I don't know. So I think it'd be the more the merrier, though. Will you ever retire from YouTube? It doesn't look like I can. Now, if I had successful comedy touring career, then why would I do this, right? But I don't, so here I am. It's almost as if Google is making sure people don't succeed, so they have to stay here. Would you rather Elle Fanning? Quit bringing up Elle Fanning. I do not find her Dakota Fanning long or Anna Taylor-Joy. Definitely ATJ. Do we call her ATJ? I don't know. If you were stuck on an island, what do you not mind being stuck with? ATJ, I think, wouldn't mind. Let's see, who would know I well? Wasn't there a Colleen Haskell? Wasn't that her name? She was in that a Rob Schneider movie, The Animal, but she was on Survivor, so she might be of help, right? You got to think that way, right? Who is your favorite comic book hero? I like the way you phrase that instead of saying superhero, because I think Batman would probably be favorite, but he's not really a hero. Now, oftentimes the media will misconstrue him as a superhero because as if a blanket statement for all comic book characters. Nothing particularly super about him, though I do think in original origin story, it said he became the strongest man in the world, and him lifting 1,000 pounds over his head, like 1,000-pound barbell or something, which would de facto make him the strongest man in the world. Now, is that a superpower? Or was that hard work and commitment? In a similar manner, competitive spirit is now being looked at like it could be diagnosed as a mental disorder, whereas we have the trans running around free to express themselves, and they're not mentally disordered. So yeah, that's cool. Can Star Wars be saved? Yeah, I mentioned this last stream. So Rey has a white son, and his name is Luke, and he is instantly better than her at everything. He's a toddler, and he can make anything fly and make his mom shut her mouth. I just saved. Would you rather marry AOC or Jenna Ortega? Now, AOC has the rack and pinion steering. So, but Jenna Ortega is likely going to be easier to tolerate and a ways younger, like what, 10 years younger-ish, something like that. So let's go with Jenna Ortega. Can you be a great actor without winning an Academy Award? Probably, because let's consider this. First of all, you said winning. You're really presented with an Oscar, and the Oscar goes to. They used to say, and the winner is, but it's really the, and the Oscar goes to. They say it's an honor to be nominated. Okay, whatever. But this isn't a football game. There's not a score determining the outcome here. It is favors within the system. Your movie decided to have a marketing budget for your consideration, and somebody else's didn't, so they didn't get nominated. And so what would stop you there, right? And then you also have those lifetime achievement Oscars. They give a few out. I think at one point it was just one. Now that they're spreading it around a little bit. But those are Oscar statuettes, and they're you might actually have more credentials in those than you do, oh, you made one good movie this year. And also consider when they started the Academy Awards, it was the best actor of the year, kind of like MVP in basketball, football, NFL, whatever. So if you had movie, that could derail you. How Sandra Bullock got a Razzie and an Oscar in the same year. You know, realistically, that would have stopped her from getting the Oscar under the old rules. So, yeah, this thing's a little fizzy. Got Why don't you have a PlayStation? I have a PS1. I'm calling it that, but you have to, because if you don't, people won't know what you're talking about. And a PlayStation 2. But in January of 2003, I picked up an Xbox 150. It included Sega GT 2002, I think that was the name of the game, and Jet Set Radio Future, Jet Grind Radio, the sequel anyway. And then I played Halo. And after it was just kind of like PlayStation what? Like Halo and it caught on so much in college with the LAN parties all going at all times. Best experience gaming ever. Halo particular with the LAN, big time. I have a buddy I talk to every couple of weeks on Xbox Live. He just won't stop talking about the LAN activity in Halo 2. The good old days. Elizabeth Olsen or Gal Gadot? Even though she's from Israel, let's go Gadot. Gadot. Would you rather have $1 million in 1800s America or 1 million subs demonetized on YouTube? Don, how many accounts do you sign in to ask questions? Like, honestly. Let's go with the $1 million in 1800s. You'd be able to command much, right? You could make the $1 million work for you. You know, and there wouldn't be the opportunity for other people to acquire $1 million like there is now. Now there are ways to make money as a kid, and a kid could buy a PlayStation 5. You think I could have possibly have bought a system as a kid mowing lawns? Like, versus kids now can have a TikTok go and they get their PS5. Like, think about this. So not only does the dollar is $1 million more than it than now, but you could do so much more with it because it was so hard to get money. Okay, what questions do we have here? Would you still live with your parents if you had $100 million? Probably not. I could then afford for them to live somewhere, I guess, or travel the world or whatever they want, shenanigans. Did you ever watch Vampire Hunter D movies? Yes, I have the Steel Book somewhere, not within arm's reach. But I did a video comparing Vampire Hunter D to Project A-ko, and honestly, Project A-ko is the better of the two. To those I watched during the Saturday anime programming block on Sci-Fi Channel back in '97, and I mean, they were like my first anime films, and it was kind of like, you know, but when you look back now revisit, the animation of Vampire Hunter D is not nearly as good as you thought it was. Maybe when you saw it on basic cable, 4x3, 480i TV, you were maybe more impressed with it. But I didn't really like Bloodlust. The story just didn't mesh with me. There was a bit of a change in the art style. You go back and you look at the original and you're like, this was the art style that you thought was so cool. Or there were several Vampire Hunter D novels. It's almost surprising when done the live action American version, right? If we did, it would probably be directed by Jordan Peele, and there'd be a big race thing about it, right? There'd have to be some evil white people, evil or dumb white people. Like you have the evil white people, and then in Dope or Nope, you have like the arrogant white people, the curious white people. They go and get killed. That's what that movie's actually about, and I don't think a lot of people on that. It's called Nope because that's the black reaction to seeing the aliens. Nope, nope, I ain't doing this like that. But the white people are like, I gotta be the first to document this. That I'm gonna get famous, or I'm going to discover the new race, the alien life forms. The curious people, that's what got them killed. Okay, what other? You seem disappointed in life every time you talk. Why move to Argentina? The women are pure Italian and Spanish, and they speak English. You might find happiness there. I doubt it. And I mean, I'm trying to think, are there hot Argentina girls that I know of? Look into this, but some of the South American stuff just it doesn't really set. Also, you have the gangs, so. Would you rather have 10 million subs monetized or marry AOC? Why the hell would I do that? Give me the 10 million subs monetized. No. Hey, would you rather win the lottery or have a hand chopped off? Like, that's a question. Would you direct a miniseries for 30 million? Well, it depends on what it would be. And I'd want it to be an original property and not just riding the coattails of somebody else and then slapping created by on it when obviously George Lucas created Star Wars, right? So they do that sort of shit. And I don't think that one would get, access to do that, really. Since you don't have any bills, why don't you try a bit for a year? Some excitement to your. Try a bit of what? Thing a miniseries for 30 million. The problem is everything is about connections, and you don't have the connections. You're not allowed to do entertainment if you're from places that you're not installed. So, do you have a passport? Yes. I went to Mexico and Belize and some other places back in February. Would you quit YouTube if you won 800 million from the lottery? Probably not. In fact, what I'd probably do is get into muscling under the opposition channels, neurotic, drinker, all the ilk, everybody that touches open bar. and beat them at their own game, like TV studio quality production, with me doing very little in and reading the teleprompter, and then bragging about having an editor and all this stuff. That's what those channels do now. They like to do bragging about what they have that you don't. So shit. Yeah, and then I'd have the best sneaker channel, all that shit too. Why does it seem like as I get older, I hate everyone? Is this normal? Yeah, the racism grows. No, I think that you're able to better stand circumstances, and you also reflect back on how were. Look, it's not like things have all gotten better than since you were a kid. Like the attitude between strangers, people behave, it's not the same. Now, if it was the same as in the 90s, plus we had amazing tech like Wi-Fi, wireless earbuds, shit, 4K movies, all this amazing stuff, and everybody, it'd be a little different. But it's really not like that now, is it? So able to reflect on a memory that maybe it is a little rose-tinted glasses. You don't remember, you don't think about the dial-up internet so much when you think of the 90s, but you know, and you jaded. You're not going to be as tricked as easily into just following along with what other people are saying. So yeah, you're going to end up hating more stuff. Uh, what else are we asking here? What happened to action movies? Studios are making them like they used to, are making them used to anymore, or not at all? Thoughts? We get one action movie now, and it is John Wick clones. What is it? Boy Kills World, The Crow, may as well be John Wick also at this point, right? I mean, everybody's got a revenge thing. They killed his family. He's got to kill all them. Like they did that. Now he's got to kill all them. So we make just John Wick. And that is essentially what's going to get the butt. And then we have hey, if we're making the next John Wick, it'll be kind of like this. And they'll put some money into it and it'll get in theaters. Nobody gives a shit. That ballerina. Now, does anyone care? We're bringing up characters for a spin-off, and somehow Keanu Reeves is in it. So is this a prequel? Is that what they're going to pull on us? Hey, kid, you're a pretty good ballerina. Whoa. Like, will that happen? Like, we'll do that. And then we have a John Wick clones. Hell, I still need to do more. I've shot it. I need to get the clips, but the beekeeper. I'm the beekeeper. I take care of the hive. Ah, you brought the classics. Right? So Jason Statham will get to do his John Wick clones. The Fast and Furious has changed into a farcical comic book movie. I mean, it went from kind of like an MTV take on Point Break into heist film. Like it wanted to be Ocean's 11, and then everybody became a superhero. And I actually caught up with them like a year and a half ago, and I failed to even make a video because I didn't want to have to go through it again. Everything is shit. Yeah, the Fast and Furious, there's no redemption for Fast and Furious. The Expendables is over. We'll get more of Jason Statham doing his Statham-y thing, right? And there'll be John Wick clones. So they're looking to try to bring back the action film, but they're not really putting the effort or the talent in the right place. The action stuff doesn't work when everybody's thin and skinny and has to use obvious stunt doubles and there's CGI explosions. The action stuff works when real cars do tricks and there are fiery explosions for real. That'll work. I was watching this yesterday. Now, and I came to a bit of a conclusion here. Like why we don't have any more Friday the 13th. And I mentioned this all in my commentary track, which you're not going to listen to. But kind of straighten that up. The Friday the 13th stuff is changing hands. It's like, hey, A24 wants it. No, maybe not. Okay, Blumhouse. Okay, fine, do something. We're going to make streaming series. No, we're not. Friday the 13th, as done at like this film here, is so incredibly un-PC and Me Too'd out that you just about can't do it. In the modern audience equivalent, there's going to have to be gay characters. They're probably going to have to be a guy on guy kissing or a final girl boss. There's going to be all kinds of crazy shit, and they'd be scared to pull off a lot of it. And you'd have CGI fire, CGI blood everywhere. It would look like garbage. It would not be what the fans of the series want. And it wouldn't bring in the new crowd either. Everything is so mitigated. It was like that when Expendables, they went, hey, we got to go PG-13, bring in the younger crowd. No, instead you alienated the old crowd, and the younger crowd doesn't want to watch 6-year-olds do action shit. All right, where are we at here? Why don't you dances? Are there no traditional young college girls in Kansas? No, there probably aren't. What's the future of Lucasfilms? I hear they're canceling the new Ray films. I have not heard that. I think, and okay, wasn't it postponed? Wasn't that the story a couple weeks back that they're postponing activity on the Ray films? The way I would see it, why would they not? I kind of want to move that off of that right there. Why would they not fast track that to try to get out from under the Acolyte quicker? Or are they moving up Grogu and the Mandalorian? Because you want to have something new on Star Wars so that you can move past the thing everybody doesn't like, right? Like that's kind of the way they need. Oh yeah, forget about that. Look over here. Look at this over here. If this is too far away and all we have to remember is the Acolyte, then what are we doing, right? So I don't think they're going to pass on the Ray films, but how do you make more out of a character that bland? You tell me. Why haven't Lucasfilms fired Kathleen Kennedy with so many failures in their TV series? I think that they have a situation where she is unfireable, where she has a contract that would cost so much money that it is easier for them to print out, just punch out these series, these passion projects of hers, than it is to get rid of her. That it is probably cheaper for her to have an Acolyte than it is to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. With what would occur? These people have these contracts where they can do anything they want, and it would take an inward on video to get something done with eyewitnesses in a courtroom or something. Because nowadays, even you could say it was deep fake, right? AI, something like that. So yeah, I think they can't get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. Would rom-coms be profitable if studios give it a chance? Yeah, I think they would. I would like to see genre diversity return. That parody would bring the girl crowd to the girl movies instead of bringing them to your movies. Instead, and until John Wick, a lot of the actors were girls. And now it's kind of halfway that again, but it was all like Angelina Jolie, Scarlett Johansson, vision over here. And it was just like, hey, we got to get women to see this stuff, Hunger Games, right? Because why make a movie for men when we have the genre that will bring the guys, but we'll put women in charge so the women show up and we'll get both people's money. Let the women see the women films and they won't pollute your guy films. So Look, if you want to save Hollywood, write a great rom-com. People don't realize it, but your favorite rom-com is probably Jerry Maguire. Uh, I don't think most people realize that's Tom Cruise's rom-com right there. So, something to think about. Did you watch Anyone But You with Sydney Sweeney? I did. I did a review on it. I wasn't crazy about it, but it brought in 160 million global, and that suggests that one could make more movies in a similar vein, i.e., rom-coms. And it is a shame that we don't have a face for the rom-com right now. Like, look at the generation. It's like Julia Roberts, Meg Ryan, gives way to Reese Witherspoon. Who comes next? No one. There is a gap. Could Sydney Sweeney be the face of the rom-com going forward? Sure, why not? Right? Oh, did you watch the tennis movie with Zendaya? No, and I'm assuming it's probably on Max or one of the few things I don't have. I'm not inclined to watch it, so she beats around a CGI tennis ball. Ugh, whatever. I mean, and then the weird isn't the synopsis that she's a retired tennis star, but she has such a baby face. She looks like she'd be in their prime. And then when we think of a retired tennis star now, it's like Serena leaves at 40, so she sure doesn't look that beat, right? So no, I haven't bothered. You stated last stream you with to college for film. Did you ever want to become a director? What were your goals back then? I think at first, sure, but then I kind of thought, I'd like to be a critic, especially after I worked as a PA on a Western, and that was such a pain in the ass. It was just like, how long can you be strung along thinking that you're going to get to direct something and then you just never do? So you'd be better off reviewing it. Which movie is better, Aliens 1 or Predator 1? So you mean Alien or The Predator? The Predator? Predator. Is Predator 87 or is it The Predator? I think it's Predator. Oh, God, Shane Black, you confused me. I think it's Predator. Okay. Alien is better than Predator. Aliens is probably better than Predator also. Slightly. Would you rather live in the original Halloween universe, Halloween 1 through 4, or Friday the 13th universe? Huh. Well, one can avoid a lot of trouble with Jason Voorhees by simply not going to Camp Crystal Lake. So that would be very doable. Halloween, if you're not in Haddonfield, you're pretty safe, right? He doesn't really. It's kind of like Batman. Like he can go out of there, but he just chooses not to. Did you like the original American Pie and American Pie 2? I have seen 2, but I have not seen 1 or Wedding or I think that is it their 4th one, Reunion? I haven't actually seen those, so wasn't really that enamored with 2, really. I guess 1 is probably where it's at. And it probably plays like that generation's Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Is it Ridgemont? Ridgepoint? Ridgemont. Ridgemont? Yeah. Everybody just calls it Fast Times, right? I think that movie's probably more of a hit because of the title. It's just such a catchy title, right? Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The Fast Times really sells it. Did you like the original? Okay, you already I looked at that. Sydney Sweeney, Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba. Acting wise, though, Jessica Alba is not a strong actor. Sydney Sweeney is limited. Limited, but potentially more range than Jessica Alba. You're far more likely to see an Oscar nominee Sydney Sweeney than an Oscar nominee Jessica Alba. Let's put it that way. Would you rather be stuck on an island with Emma Watson? Why is this chair suddenly not feeling comfortable? Emma Watson, or be a co host with Critical Drinker? I guess Island with Emma Watson. Is she still famous? Does she do anything? I saw her name was brought up in a lawsuit where people were like failing to pay their taxes with offshore accounts. It was something like that, right? Allegedly. Let's throw that in there because litigious. Is J.K. Rowling an overrated writer? No. I haven't read her stuff, but I know a lot of it is coming from other places. But she still tied things together in a way that built a world better than most people can. So, which movie series is better, Twilight or Harry Potter? Harry Potter, it's not even close. The best Twilight movie is what? New Moon or Eclipse or something, and that's only not as bad as the rest of them. Not hot to you? I would say yes. Pretty good. And also consider she's a mom that kept herself together. And look, in my area, women my age look like retreaded tires. So she's really not doing bad. Would you rather marry Elle Fanning or have 200,000 subs monetized? 200,000 subs monetized. AOC for Elle Fanning to marry. Christ. I guess AOC. For the rack. Which streaming service has the best chance of beating Netflix at the #1 spot? Tubi. Actually, YouTube is the king, but Tubi, all they have to do, have the supply. They just have to say, let's move past 720p, give you not just 1080p, but hey, if we free 4K with HDR, YouTube is free with 4K and HDR. Why can't they get on that? And look, I would do a comedy special for Tubi, but I wouldn't want it interrupted with ad breaks. There'd have to be a stipulation there. Okay, show them some ads before it starts, but that's it. I noticed that Prime Video's interrupting the comedy specials now. It's like, son of a bitch, right? Yeah, Tubi is the one that has the best chance, if we're being completely honest. Why are movies getting so expensive to make? Do you think there is a money laundering scheme going on? It's unions. Unions are always jacking the price up, and they are so unioned up. They won't Hollywood can't make a movie without several unions being involved. Now, you and I, if you live in a right to work state, you can do stuff without having to be in a union. No one's going to watch, so there's a difference. But yeah, the cost of production should be going down. You and I can afford really good quality cameras and lighting equipment and microphones. But we still can't live in an area where people are on call to be acting because they have 9-to-5 jobs and the like. So they still very much have a monopolization of the process of making the film and certainly the distribution. When we decide that we don't have to go to theaters full stop, then the distribution will be more up in the air. And you and I will have our chance. But as systems are established, they spend a lot of their time looking to remain at the top of the list. We have so much bureaucracy. We have income tax so that we can keep H&R Block afloat. And that's the same way that goes. It's like the theaters exist so that these guys can tell you what's cool because it's in the movies. When the Zoomers and the alphas and whatever they're calling themselves, these damn kids, when they just see movies and 2-hour long productions as boomer media and the TikTokers decide what's cool, it will be very hard for Hollywood to establish themselves inside the TikToker space beyond, you know, acquiring all the talent and getting them on contracts to tell people to vote certain ways. That's about all they could do, really, at that point, right? If how are studios making money if most movies aren't making a profit? That's what I wonder, because you see this happen now. Number one movie at the weekend, $14 million. The hell? What is this? 1994? Like, things don't make sense. And then movies are gone quick. Like 4 weeks later, you can buy it on streaming. Wait 2 more weeks and it'll show up on Netflix. There can't be a lot of profit. They can't sell you a soundtrack. They don't have merchandise. They don't have the action figures. The kids won't play with the action figures. They don't have the TV rights to pawn off. There used to be a lot of money in the TV rights. The TV rights could potentially make you so much money than what you made on a floundering $20 million gross. You could make that up on TV rights. Now there is no avenue to make money afterwards beyond, let's charge people $40. Now you can own it. That's about all there is. Prove me wrong, right? So I think that they are cooking the books to keep the illusion of the industry afloat in many ways. They're seeing that you don't have much of a profit incentive when people are signing up for your streaming service to buy, to get access to the back catalog temporarily. And then once they've seen that, they leave because the new stuff's no good. The new stuff doesn't have to be good because it doesn't generate ad revenue. So that's how you end up with all these vanity projects. Hey, I'm Dwayne Johnson, and wouldn't it be cool if I did a thing with Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds? No, it wouldn't. So we all got a huge check. To which I think Gal Gadot might have got just as big of a check as the other guys, and she hardly did anything. And Red Notice? Ugh. Yeah, God, don't remind me. Are you Republican, Democrat, or Independent? I'm probably registered Republican. I've always only voted Republican, but I also occasionally don't vote. And I am responsible enough to not tell anybody how to vote. And I understand that most of these politicians are lying to you anyway, or saying the thing that doesn't get them in trouble, all that. In fact, I would say the only people or entity that should be endorsing a candidate would probably be other candidates within their party. That makes sense. A business should not be endorsing somebody. A newspaper endorsing a candidate tells me that is biased reporting, and you have no business believing anything they say at that point, right? So if I told you how to do any of that stuff, then you wouldn't be able to believe my take on Street Fighter 6. You see what I'm saying here? What's wrong with Israel? Too much to get into. Let's see, quickly. They benefit from the most acquisition of land via war, whereas everybody else is like, oh, okay, we beat you guys, shake hands, call it a day. They're like, oh, we beat you and we took your land. And then if you say anything about that, then you're a something, and then you don't get to work ever again. So there is that. And they have to be funded by everybody else, which, I mean, and if you don't fund them, you're a certain word and you are finished. You're canceled. So, yeah, there's a lot going against them. On the other side, it's not like the other side are the good guys. Would I rather not be involved in the situation? Sure. So, I only have one count. Why do you think? Because Mary KK over here asks the same type of questions you do, and so does another account, Don. Come on now. Is Bobby Antov hot? I have no idea who that is. Would you rather live in Israel or Mexico for life? Oh, goodness sake. Oh, that's incredibly dangerous and very hot. Ooh. Jeez. Oh, that's rough. You know what? I'll say Mexico because I think your money will go further. So I will say Mexico there. Yeah. What kind of movie would you direct with $100 million? You know, I used to think I knew what I would do, but now I look at anything, any of my good ideas, and just go, there's no profit in that. No wonder it hasn't happened yet, Vaughn. Come on. You don't have the installed base to make people care. Yeah, I mean, shit, it's almost like you'd have to turn to a Taylor Swift anime in order to get people interested. It's just about like that. What do you think is worse, Expendables 4 or 6? Expendables 4. Expendables 4 is so overtly rent, shamefully so. I don't think Expendables 4 is good. You want to avoid that. It's not like the rest of the movies were great, but yeah, Expendables 3 was actually better than most people give credit. Scream 6. I'm not confused with Scream 5 because they were they're Scream 6 is in New York and it was awful, but see, here's the problem. Was it much worse than Scream 5? That's the tricky thing about that one. Whereas Expendables 4 clearly the worst. Let's see, favorite rom-com. There are some good ones, but you know, like I mentioned, like people probably don't realize that their favorite rom-com's Jerry Maguire, right? And you hear it get quoted, and I don't even think people realize the quotes are coming from it. Like, there's probably people now saying "Show me the money" and not realizing it's from Jerry Maguire. There's probably people right now saying "You had me at hello," not realizing it's from Jerry Maguire. Scariest horror movie you watched? I would say The Ring, but there is a trick question to that. 2001: A Space Odyssey, not listed as a horror film, but pretty scary. I mean, is it not about a killer computer that shuts off the oxygen and stuff, or cuts the guy's cord in space? The scary music with the monolith seems scary to me. So, yeah, seems plenty scary right there. Elizabeth Olsen, don't care for her. In fact, she keeps popping up in things that I then avoid. Obviously, I didn't watch her WandaVision. You know, would you rather fight Dwayne Johnson? Okay, for 9 rounds or marry Emma Watson? I could fight Dwayne Johnson. Sure. Well, here's the problem. In my current condition versus his current condition, it wouldn't be so good, but if both of us at peak would probably also not be fair, but it would avoid Emma Watson. So, sure. Which streaming series would you work for? Or service, sorry, streaming service. See, like I'm saying, like I could fix you Tubi right now. It would be easy to fix Tubi. The rest of them are so entrenched in not trying to knock off Hollywood, but recruit Hollywood. See, we looked at Netflix going, hey, this is going to beat Hollywood at their own game. No, instead they said, hey, who's going to make the content? Hey, guys from Hollywood, we're going to lure you over here instead of making our own stars and our as far as behind the scenes, right? So, I mean, they've kind of just they took all the poison from Hollywood and infected their own well with it. It's what they did. So I wouldn't screw around with Netflix if I didn't have to, right? Hulu doesn't seem half bad, but now it's basically Disney Plus. Paramount Plus has a lot of problems right now. We know HBO Max with Warner Brothers is a disaster. So sure, Tubi it is. Would you rather watch a marathon Twilight or Critical Drinker for a year straight? Critical Drinker. You would be repeating the Twilight series way sooner, right? And whereas you probably have a year's worth of Critical Drinker content to sift through. So consider that. Are you a fan of The Punisher at all? I did like the Punisher arcade game. I think I may have done a stream playthrough or something like that, or I've gone through it. And I do anything on Twitch? Probably not, but yeah, I have played that. I think I probably played it on a hacked Super Nintendo Classic or PlayStation Classic, actually. But I didn't watch the Thomas Jane movie. I didn't watch The Zone. I watched a little bit of the one with Shane from The Walking Dead. The character isn't it doesn't strike me as that captivating. Oh, I didn't watch the Dolph Lundgren one much, but I mean, he's just angry his family, right? It's lower class John Wick, right? Because he doesn't put on the suits, and there isn't this weird world you get brought. It, uh, so might actually have to kind of say no, not really. I'm kind of indifferent on Punisher at best, really. Is it better to put your movies on streaming services to make a profit after they've been in theaters? But why don't they wait? You're giving people incentive to go, I wait a couple weeks to not see this in theaters. Why doesn't this stuff come to the streaming service a year later? Remember how long you had to wait for VHS tapes to drop? And they're doing something like this with games now. I don't have a great example on hand here. No, I don't. But I digitally purchased the Dead Rising Deluxe Remastered. I don't believe it is out until November on disc. They can make a lot more money with you purchasing it digitally than they can you potentially buying a used disc of a game. So they're holding back, and the industry certainly would prefer that you had to buy the game outright without ever playing it. You got no demo, you can't rent it, nothing. You played it, and you get to do your video while it's relevant, or you don't. But I just don't see why they can't space this stuff out to give people a reason to go to the theaters. I see that now you can purchase digital on the Xbox and elsewhere, Deadpool and Wolverine, but I'm waiting for the 4K that comes out on the 20th. That 4K disc, which it feels like all the disc stuff is getting to be like the vinyl. The 4Ks and the Blu-rays, some Blu-rays it is, are getting to be like the vinyl of movies. That it doesn't look like we will ever get 8K consumer products physically. At some point, you may have an 8K stream from Netflix, okay? But will there ever be an 8K disc? I don't think so. So we're looking at that stuff as like, this is, worth its weight in gold over here, or something. Gold in them hills. Or so if it feels that way. It does. Are most young actors and actresses not getting paid since movies aren't making that much and there is high competition? Yes. The streamers on Twitch have to be making more money than the our Jenna Ortegas. Okay, and look at it this way: there's one Jenna Ortega, all right? There's a shitload of streamers. I have no idea who the hell they are, and they're making ass load of money. Whereas we have people who could be starring on Netflix's new number one show, and they can't afford rent in the town in which they have to work. But a streamer can buy the $20 million property. Consider that. The streamer does not have to live in any one specific spot to work. The actor, there's far more control over them. We only have room for like one actor to break through. The rest of them are working for peanuts. And then they become acting coaches or stripper pole Pilates instructors or something, whatever they call it. The competition for like what we're doing is screwing up their system as far as what young kids are going, I want to be a movie star now. No, they want to play Minecraft and have viewers. That's what they would rather do. I have a reel coming out about this, but I'll just go ahead and tell you guys. This guy Drewski, the comic genius of our time, in the 90s, he would have had a movie, and it would have probably failed. Chairman of the board of Carrot Top, Army Now, Pauly Shore. And it would have exposed him, and he would drift away into obscurity and die in a gutter. But he never has those opportunities to fail, doesn't have a stand-up special that bombs, or gets crickets and people don't laugh. He just works in his lane and keeps succeeding, and there's no end in sight. All right, the battery is getting pretty low over here, so we will wrap this up at the 90-minute mark, guys. What's wrong with Red Notice movie? A ton. The fact that I barely remember what the hell the plot is, other than it's one of these, the whole time I was trying to trick you into doing this. And then there's some like hot piece of ass chick, and she's like the good agent tracking them down, and she was on some streaming show on Netflix, but because she's not Gal Gadot, Dwayne Johnson, or Ryan Reynolds, probably got peanuts for it, whereas they got $20 million apiece. So that's something to think about. What do you think is the worst Nightmare on Elm Street movie? I have not watched Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. I've heard it's bad, but I'm intrigued, so I can't really weigh in on that one. I've seen the rest of them. I haven't seen the remake recently enough to know how to weigh in on that, but I do know that the remake has much better production value than many of the sequels. The sequels, after a time, just were on the autopilot program, right? We have to have one every year, just do something, put something out, whatever. New Nightmare, if we're including it, is like proto-Scream. It's like, we got this wrong, but I think we could try again. And that's what Scream is. Like, we're trying to make the self-aware horror film. But, geez, what's the worst one? I don't know. Like, maybe 6 or something. The Dream Child. What, maybe? Or is that not the one? It's kind of like trying to figure out what's the worst Friday the 13th. A lot of them bleed together, right? 2's not great, but at least kind of scary. At least Freddy seems sinister in that one. So I don't hate on 2 to the extreme. Would you take 100,000 subs demonetized or marry Jenna Ortega? I'll take the 100,000 subs demonetized. Would you rather live in the Halo universe as a regular human or Walking Dead regular human? Give me Halo with a regular human, because look, food is available. You can get contact lenses. You live pretty comfortably in many cases. There is zero comfortable living in The Walking Dead. You're either living or you're dead, but it's comfortable. And if you were comfortable, like you were someone who power, then someone's looking to kill you. Would your life be complete if you join a comedy tour with the big guys? No, because then I'd just be the underling who opens, and you'd be expected to do that until you're in your 50s, and then you finally get a Netflix animated program that is, but you're not an animator, so it's not any good. That sort of shit. I did jump aboard a tour once for a couple of shows, but it wasn't like did much of the touring. But I did. I am working on a Kamala Harris impression. The logic being, and at least it can work for like the next month, right? But all this time, guys have had the benefit of being able to do an impersonation of the president. If we end up with a female president, it could cripple a lot of the comedy, because then you'll have to have women do the impression of this broad. So you need at least one guy kind of do an impression of her, right? And not be afraid. So I feel like that, and there's also a lot of comedy there because she just looks puzzled and confused. She's the living embodiment of imposter syndrome. Like, she realizes she's over her skis, that she has no business being here, and she is just trying to fake her way through it. So, but I can't do the impression consistently yet. And also, I didn't go 100. Like, look, if you try to sound too much like her, then you aren't always doing the gravelly cry voice, because not everything she says goes that way. But then it kind of just sounds like you're not an impression of her. So it kind of seems like in order to get the Kamala Harris impression to work, you have to into the concept of what she sounds like, where she, is about to cry. I kind of messed my voice up. I can't, don't think I can do it right now, because it kind of has to hit back in the spot. It's not going to sound right. But yeah, that also might be one of those impressions that, like, if you try to do Vin Diesel too much, then you'll wake up with strep throat, right? Like, that's a possibility. I notice most actors marry directors and movie producers. Is this because they are broke and marry those guys gets them in multiple movies since they are married? Yes, but also they marry rich and then they feel like they don't have to do movies. If you recall, leave the Ultra Babe Nova from the original Planet of the Apes, didn't she marry like the guy that like ran Fox, the guy running 20th Century Fox? Like, and then it's kind of like, oh, I don't have to do movies anymore. Isn't that crazy how that works? So yeah, perks to being a hot babe again, right? I actually mentioned this in a video I shot yesterday, but if college was to prepare us for the real world, one of the classes should just be how to wine and dine older women, because what else is a guy good for now, right? Oh, and when I say older, I'm not saying they got work and made money. It's more like they inherited money. So, in Halo, aren't you getting killed by aliens though? In Walking Dead, aren't you getting killed by other people and or zombies? So, yeah, I mean, anything comes easy. Anything you want, you can't get cookies. They're all stale. You see what I'm saying here? Like, it's easier living in Halo. Have you seen The Ring 2? Yes, I don't remember much of it. And I did see Rings, and I didn't much care for it. But the girl in Rings is not bad looking. She's kind of like a younger Italian Jessica Alba. And she's in something coming out soon, or she's got the big part and not afraid to take the clothes off or something. I can't remember what it is she's involved in, but yeah. And that one had Jared Galecki from Big Bang Theory in it, right? Rings. I started watching the original sequel because I watched the original Ring a few months ago, the Japanese one, which I'd seen before. And then there was a sequel. I think the sequel Sadako or something. But and then they have like it gets a little complicated. Then it gets back to being called Rings or something, and or Spiral. Maybe the sequel's called Spiral, Ring, and then Spiral. But I got bored, and it actually had. So the original Ring from Japan has that Japanese guy who was in what 3 seconds of Avengers Endgame, and then because of that, they had to put him in Shogun, and now he's got an Emmy, and he makes history, first Asian women, all that stuff. He's in the original Ring, and he's also in the sequel, which I'm going to call Spiral, though I may be wrong on the name, but I got bored with it, so yeah. All right. Well, hey, it looks like we're out of questions. We got 5 viewers here. I don't know. Is there anything else I wanted to touch on other than just answer the questions here? Good night. You are fun to talk to. Please keep it up. Also, never quit. Never stop, never stopping, right? I said on there games, politics, sports. Let's talk about sports briefly here. We got about 6 minutes left before we get to the 90-minute mark. The Caitlin Clark not being unanimous in Rookie of the Year kind of messed up. Because what other Rookie of the Year do you think is a viable? Isn't she like in place in the MVP vote, or was Asia Wilson a unanimous MVP? But if you had to list a second play like vote, Caitlin Clark was the next best shot. It's weird. The WNBA is a bunch of these rough and tumbled lesbians who are controlling the narrative over there, and they're going, hey, we don't like this milquetoast white girl coming in here and trying to bring on a bigger audience. We like the niche we've carved. Screw you guys. We don't want to even make any more money. The NBA is paying for everything for us, so why should we make more money, right? Or why should we generate money as long as we're getting paid by the guys in the NBA? But she has a shoe deal. Why did she sign a shoe deal with Nike that would get her a signature shoe, and she goes her whole season without ever having that shoe? Instead, she has to playing Kobe's with a player exclusive colorway. Like, oh, but then Nike's like, no, we want to honor Asia Wilson because we're going to look racist if we give the popular girl the shoe first that people might actually buy. If we give Caitlin Clark the shoe, we're going to look racist for overlooking Asia Wilson. Caitlin Clark should be suing Nike, and she probably doesn't even need to be in the WNBA. I've heard people say she could play in Europe where she'd be respected. I'm not too aware of a Europe women's basketball league, but I do know that for a while there, the WNBA stars were having to play in Russia because Russia paid way better. And that's how you end up with somebody like Brittany Griner over there in the first place, because they weren't getting paid that much in America. So Russia lures them away, alternating seasons. It's like they're playing basketball year round. No real off time. The NFL finding very lackluster right now. Quarterback play is sloppy. We have a lot of games where guys are not making 200 yards passing. And it seems to come down to the quarterback position. Just, we can't practice. We can't put in this screw having to learn a new playbook. We're going to fire coordinators left and center. So just rely on your physical abilities. Receivers, just be faster than anybody else. Any play can be called back for holding or pass interference. They're going to have to change something drastically with the pass interference and the holding, because you could easily mob up an official to call back touchdowns, holding calls. Every single play, you could make up a holding call. Every play looks like holding. So it would be just as easy to fix NFL football in that regard for gambling as it would NBA basketball. And it's not a good look when gambling is now like the number one sponsor of our sports. I've done fantasy football. That's about the extent of my gambling on sport. But I mean, it used to be beer ads. Everybody's having fun. There's hot babes in the beer ads. The schlubby guy gets the hot babes, surrounded by hot babes. There's a cool dog shows up, right? We don't. No, screw that. Now it's Kevin Hart telling you that you should be betting on things. Kevin Hart and LeBron James telling you need to bet on football. Shit, LeBron probably bets on basketball himself. I am really only curious about the NBA season coming up for a couple of reasons. They want to open in what, Abu Dhabi? So it's like, oh, humans in America, we have to take away all-star games from you guys. Was it Charlotte or something? Because you guys voted in a way that doesn't agree with our brand. So we have to be political activists over here. Oh, but you guys over in United Arab Emirates, you guys have money? Okay, cool. Yeah, we can have a game over there. Sure, we insert the season over there. I am mostly curious, though, about the NBA this season to see how LeBron James doesn't mesh with Bronny. I don't think Bronny's going to get called up until the All-Star break. He'll get called up out of the G League and then put on the Lakers because LeBron will be having a hissy fit if this doesn't happen. So it will happen for that reason because, the King told us so. His co-host from his podcast installed as the coach. We'll see how long that lasts. Because we know he's a coach genocider, man. This LeBron James, and he has to get his way. He knows better than everybody, right? I don't know why the Lakers have agreed to have their organization. They have like the greatest organization in the league. They gave it away to LeBron James. They just, here, we want you so badly. You can do, you just have all the control. Why does he have that power? I have no idea. No one likes him. No one buys his shoes. They are faking the sales as much as Disney is faking the receipts at the box office. You know what? Let's go wrap it up right there before I say something racist.